Good afternoon. Welcome. This is Rhonda Liebig, and I'm so happy you are here for my weekly call. We're going to be talking about the 3 simple steps to end your 3 p.m. slump and sugar cravings. This is going to be interesting because I'm going to talk to you about something you may not have thought about when you're thinking of sugar, because today I'll talk to you a bit about what hidden sugar is, but we're also going to discuss something that doesn't get discussed much, and it's a process that your body goes through while it is doing something to help bring the sugar cravings down, and also that help how should I say this, that there's a process that your body goes through as it's processing certain foods, and it's not related to sugar, but it's directly related with your insulin. So we're going to talk about sugars, hidden sugars, and the other culprit, which is number 3. Each stage that we go through, I'm going to give you 3 simple steps, because each week we're building upon what we are working on to simply look great and feel amazing. And there's so many steps each week that you get, so then you can just build upon what you're getting to learn about yourself and what makes this journey so important. So we're just building and building, so it helps you connect. I know when I am working on my personal strategies, it's always good to get fed just a little bit here and there to be able to build something that's more meaningful. So welcome in today. I'm going to give you a quote. If you don't know Sean Acor, he is the one that has done a couple books here. The first time I saw his stuff was probably with Oprah in the interview, but he's done TED Talks and he's just been around. But he was a Harvard student, and he realized that people at Harvard were stressed out, and he started building a class with another professor, and it was all about negativity and positivity, and living in one or the other, and how to get through your day-to-day by having the right mindset. So this is a really good quote for today. The more negative information we take in, the less positive signal we can hear. So if you keep saying stuff that's negative, it's hard when something good is going on. It's almost missed. Even if something good happens for the day, if your mindset is in that spot of negativity, you're going to notice a big difference. If you flip it the other way, how much easier life is going to be. And the less that you'll say to yourself about, well, why does this always happen to me? This stuff always happens to me. So it's just a good way to start looking at life and seeing things the way that make life a little bit easier. So I want you to have 4 steps here to get you ready for today. I want you to take a deep inhale. Oh, spread your arms out, and deep exhale. Close the eyes. Open up, big inhale. And now I want a deep exhale. Think of it as a meditative exhale. You're taking out the tension from the day as we've already started our day and getting ourselves set for some good talks here. Now, I have my chat box open. Let me double check here. But I want to make sure that you are aware that you can ask any question that you want, and it's all up to you. And I'm going to throw out some questions here and there, and if you want to answer, I'll keep a chat box so I can keep track of what's going on. All right. So let's get into this meeting me. If you've been here on the weekly calls, you know that I'm an author. And in the book, it's really about spending time with me as I coach you through the book. And it's like a 6-month program that really helps you get your mindset. So it's always about basic steps. But I give a quote in there that the 4 things that compose our balanced life are what we eat, how we deal with emotional stress, the love and intimacy that we get, but also that we give, and the motion and movement, so really physically getting ourselves out there. Also, I blog, and I do a lot of food. As a food expert, I talk a lot about food and emotions and connection with that, and also how to lose weight. So the bell pepper salad that I have on my blog, I love it. Also, I'm a professional speaker. I've been around on Fox 40, done some speaking engagements, and all the stuff that you're learning today is stuff that I use as tools to be able to help others. If you were here last week, we talked about this, the blueprint of how you're going to build your healthy plan in general. So it gave you a strong base. If you were not able to get in there, make sure that you send me an email. I'd love to send that to you so you get the gist of what organs may be struggling here and there, where your energy may be stagnant. Today we're going to be more just an education. I'm going to give you some steps with that. Last week was more about getting to know yourself. So I shared with you my signature, the 10 sabotages printout that I have, and then also the signature fit quiz. We use the quiz to find out where you were stuck. So you may want to get that blueprint webinar. So if so, and you came in here and you have one of my emails, I want you to hit reply and tell me you'd like that, because I'd love to have you in there. So what does a food expert do? Well, I guide in the why. Why is food your medicine? So you may hear a lot about that. Food is your medicine. Food is your medicine. So today I'm going to just display how this is all connected, because anytime that you're stuck in a certain organ where it's not working as efficient as it should be, that you're going to have specific results happen. Maybe that you're stressed, more highly stressed, feeling more like a victim in your life, and it's hard to really approach your life in a very strong way, or you're very aggressive, or get angered very easily. All this is connected with how the body, the water system, if you're depleted in your water system, to eating too much sugar. So there's all these things that really holistically come together, and I shared a lot of that with you last week. With that knowledge, though, and where I'm going with this is that this is how I build our Tuesdays, where you're going to be learning about your liver and kidneys. You're going to be learning about how to stop emotional blockage, declog the body energetically, use workouts to quickly lose weight. All of this stuff comes in play with all the stuff we're going to be learning today. So this is your renewed energy opportunity. We're specifically talking about energy, and we're connecting sugars. We're connecting the way that the sugar works in the body. And remember, I told you we're going to talk about sugar directly, hidden sugar today, but I also have a third one I want to share with you, which to me is a shocker. A mind shift, yes, this is. Because I want you to stay with me today holistically. And how we started off our session, we just really talked about the breathing and being connected with your body. That's important, because the more that you listen to your body, the more that you truly understand the steps that you need to do to keep yourself moving forward and feeling strong. Now, I know that we're going through this process where more people are understanding holistically that they can be helped instead of going straight to the medicine. So I don't know if most people will pass this up. It just depends on how you found me, and hopefully you found me in a way that you're very connected with the holistic, or you're very in tune, but this is the time for making changes because maybe you're not feeling as good as you'd like to. And the real question is, will you stick with me today? Will you listen to these new things, new ideas? And I'm hoping that you won't pass this up. So where do we start? We're going to get to know yourself, but really we're going to understand what is stopping your full energy day. And we're going to know what is your biggest struggle, because we're going to talk about that so you can breathe, focus on your body, and focus on your personal journey. But you also have to know your why. What would you do to get results and have a breakthrough to energetically open your mind? Each week I ask this question of you. You have to be connected with the struggles that you're having and what's your next breakthrough. Where are you energetically to be ready to do that breakthrough? Are you ready to give up certain things? Are you ready to add certain things? So let's go through and find out. So today, you are here for the 3 tips to looking great and feeling amazing. The 3 simple steps to end your 3 p.m. slump and sugar cravings. Let's get rid of that afternoon slump. Okay, so this is Samantha. Samantha has been a client of mine, and these were her final results. We're going to thread her through as you're learning possibilities today in yourself. This picture is from my YouTube channel, and this is her and I talking back and forth, and what her struggles are, what her wonderful celebrations are too, because it has to all come hand in hand. She learned to increase energy. She felt more organized, because when your mind is in chaos, she learned to really get organized in certain ways, but one of them was first getting her mind settled and focused. She was learning to make better food choices with weight loss, because she was learning how to lose weight strategically. Also emotionally more balanced. Emotionally more balanced. She was stuck more in her kidney area, and kidneys is where your water system has issues. And sometimes you can feel really, really thirsty and you drink tons of water and still nothing happens. And so she had to learn her journey and understand that holistically she could make changes without doing anything else but just connect it with her food and how she was challenging herself throughout the day to make sure that she kept into close contact with how she was feeling and what her next steps were. So she did a great job. So just understand why your body is having this afternoon slumps, calling the 3 p.m. slumps. So today you're going to understand that. Also, you're going to understand why it's not just about the sugar related to sugar imbalance. So I told you there's a third item that we're going to talk about. So let's get ready so we can get some results. So we're going to talk about the 3 steps. Okay, so let's talk about sugar. We're going to go in there and talk about basic sugar. But what's related with sugar, insulin resistance, is diabetes. Now, a lot of people these days, I would say more than half of our population is going towards pre-diabetes, and it's increasing as the years go on. And so it's important to understand, if you've already been diagnosed with diabetes, if you're pre-diabetic, if your blood sugar is like over 87, which is the beginning of your sugar having some issues, or your blood having some issues, that you can walk around and not even know that you have these issues. And this is where the wellness program comes in. And what I do is that you can have diabetes for 10 years. So even if you haven't been diagnosed with anything, maybe your doctor hasn't taken your blood sugar, maybe your doctor hasn't even thought about diabetes because you haven't had the bigger signs of having, the shakes and having the big things that happen with diabetes. So you could be carrying diabetes in your system where you're having problems with insulin, where your body is not accepting the natural sugar that comes in. So as you're eating your food, it gets broken down into simple sugar to where your body can actually absorb it. So 10 years you can be living with diabetes. So this discussion's important. Also, you have big issues that start to slowly happen and get bigger and bigger as you get closer to diabetes, such as blurred vision, thirsty, being tired, urinating constantly. Sometimes you're urinating, throughout the night. Sometimes you're whatever. But if you have this along with these symptoms, I want you to think about this today. That when you have a cut, you're slow healing. So we think that slow healing has to do with aging. So let's just take that off the table here. That even though we may be getting older, of course we all are each year, that just because something's happening doesn't mean it's happening because you're older. It means that just because of our friends and family and the way that we've seen things happen, it doesn't mean it's supposed to be. So I want you to connect with that today, that the slow healing means that there's some sugar imbalances going on, that there's not a process where your body needs to be declogged. So the cycle goes through where it can heal areas that it needs to. Also, thrush is important also because, and also genital itching, because when you have anything like the skin stuff going on and itching, that means your hormones are off also, and that's telling you have problems with diabetes or prediabetes. So just this picture's real quick here. This is where your sugar, once you eat something, it'll turn into natural sugar so you can have energy, because that's important. Sugar is important to us. But the types of sugar, of course, we have to watch out for. But you also, the key here that you're going to see is your insulin. And your insulin is what helps you absorb your sugar. And why this is important is because if someone says, oh, you're insulin resistant, or somebody's talking about it, you understand you need that insulin to help the sugar go in. And this is where things can go awry. So this lady's screaming, and it says, the things which are most important don't always scream the loudest. So like we said, you could be living with diabetes, and that is really important because it may not be standing out in front of you. It may be something that's deep inside that as you learn more and more through these Tuesday calls, you'll realize that you can have a wellness program before you're diagnosed with anything. So let's talk about sugar. And let's realize that it's not about the willpower. We sometimes think we're so weak. I think it's so easy to be hard on ourselves. So we want to be a little bit more gentler on ourselves. And how we do that is just understand what is going on. So you want to really watch the way that you speak to yourself, because willpower is not about is not to be blamed here. It's about the chemistry in your body. So if your body is off, then you're going to want to be eating more sugar to give your energy, bring your energy up. So we're going to talk about the 3 areas of sugar today, so then you know and understand what's the biggest issue that you personally have. Because you may say that, well, I don't eat sugar. And then as we start talking, in the second area, you're going to learn that there's hidden sugars. There's going to be a third area that I think is really going to be a surprise for you today. And you're going to find out if you're doing something extreme, one or the other, and not balancing everything, that it's probably throwing your body chemistry off. So just putting on the table here, you pretty much can eat whatever you want. The issue comes when you do something every single day. When you're doing something and you don't really listen to yourself and your stress, and you're just eating and not thinking about it, but you're feeding your pain or your stress. So the willpower is not to blame, because once you do a couple things here and there that have hidden sugar or sugar, you're going to have issues with your body chemistry, and it's going to be easier to sway back and forth. And maybe the willpower is the willpower to make change. But not that you're weak, but understanding the why, which we're going to talk even more about. So let's talk about sugar. Okay, so the first step here is that this is Samantha again. And Samantha was having problems because what's great is when you're younger, you think that this is like a great diet thing. You might have a candy bar and then a diet soda, and you think, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. I get to have my sugar, plus I'm having this diet soda, so I get the caffeine. Oh, everything is good. Well, as we get older, we still fall into those things that we used to do when we were younger, and that's kind of one of the defaults that she was going to, was doing stuff like that and thinking, well, why am I not losing weight? What is going on? So her first step was just being connected with sugar. Just being connected with sugar. So what I did is talking about this whole thing about how much sugar are in these foods, because if you have a sugar quiz, you don't have to answer. But I'm going to just throw it out there to kind of get your mindset that if you're looking at how much sugar is in something, then you start seeing things for what it is. So 1 teaspoon equals 1 sugar cube. So a teaspoon doesn't really seem like that much, but if you look at a sugar cube that you put into your coffee or something else, then that's kind of equates to that. So how many sugar cubes do you think are in a bowl of Cheerios? Do you think are in a sweetened tea, that are in applesauce? And you know what I threw out there is this peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But you know what, the bread is actually hidden sugar, so I didn't implement that in, because I don't know how the body translates bread into how many grams of sugar that is, or teaspoons or something. So we're talking specifically about, if you looked on the back of what jelly has, what peanut butter has, what is the equation here of how much sugar. So let's just look at a quick little slot here. So if you're having a bowl of Cheerios, which is actually just a cup of Cheerios, which I think people usually have maybe a couple cups, it's not usually just one. So it's about a sugar cube. So bowl of Cheerios, I think if you're going to be eating cereal and you're kind of at the beginning of your stage here, well then, sometimes you can go with Cheerios and start losing weight and start getting connected, and you can go, deeper into, maybe doing some Wheaties, and then stepping away from cereal and starting to go to more organic, fruits and vegetables in the morning, and having some nuts to balance that. So there's a stage here. So Cheerios aren't that bad. It depends on what stage you are in your process of your food process. Now, bottled sweetened tea, 11 teaspoons. 11 teaspoons, which is 11 sugar cubes. So sometimes we're drinking our sugar and we don't even realize it. Also the applesauce, 5 teaspoons. So you have 5 sugar cubes. Peanut butter and jelly, and you know what? I actually think I have this wrong. The 7 teaspoons, I've logged it into MyFitnessPal, and I think it was higher than that. I have to double check that, because 7 teaspoons, I think, it depends on how much jelly you use, or actually what kind of jelly you use too, because some, you can get up to 14 teaspoons or even more than that. So it gets crazy. So you have to really watch your jelly intake too. Okay, so this may freak you out just because I'm just thinking about this now that I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what if somebody's having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich today? So what you want to look at is if you're having one of these, don't be concerned. What you need to do, though, is balance stuff. So there's no fear in what we're doing. It's just about education and learning about what's working and what's not. So this is just a good snapshot to see what's going on. So we talked about direct sugar and what's happening. Now, you know, direct sugar, we talked about where your insulin is trying to help bring in the sugar into the cell. And then when you have too much sugar, then you're really producing all this insulin, and that's when your hormones get off. That's where your midsection gets bigger. So the second stage that Samantha had to focus in on is what foods had hidden sugars in it. So I'm going to give you a few examples today so you can take a look, get your vision on, you know, what may be out there that you are eating that might be hidden sugars. I have quite a few people that say they don't eat sugar, but, you know, if you're eating bread and you're eating just wheat bread, I'd look at what it says, how much sugar is in it, but then I'd also look to see how much fiber is in there. So the fiber, we want up to 40 grams of fiber. I'd say 35 to 40 grams. And why this is important is because you don't want anything stuck in your body. So if there's hidden sugar there, that means it's going to spike up your sugar, but it's also going to affect how long it stays in your body. Less fiber means that it's going to stay in your body for quite a long time. So important to know. Okay, so with the sugar in stuff, I always find it hard to find yogurt when I'm trying to buy something that I want to add into my, you know, if I'm going to do a drink with yogurt. Sometimes I'll use yogurt as like a sour cream, and I'll put some dill in there, and I can dip vegetables in there when I'm putting stuff together. And so when you start looking at, you know, everybody goes, oh my gosh, Greek yogurt is so good for you. It truly is. But you have to go for stuff that doesn't have like a vanilla taste to it, that's plain, because you can add stuff in there. You can add herbs to add the flavor to it. Well, if you're buying this Greek yogurt, I was at the store and I took these pictures. I was like, I'm gonna go through the store because I was shopping the other day. I'm gonna take pictures just for this, you know, this next webinar. Okay, so when you're going out shopping, this is what I want you to do too. I want you to just put that hat on with sugar, because sugar is what's going to give you that 3 p.m. slump. If you're having breakfast and then lunch, and a lot of that has sugar or hidden sugars that you're going to see here, that's going to bring your energy down. Or if you miss a meal also, that really affects everything too. And also thinking about that, when you are eating, when you're not eating, do you know that insulin goes up in your body anyway, because it has to help your natural sugar that your liver releases to help you have the energy. So even not drinking or eating something is going to affect your body and your insulin. So it's crazy and it sounds complicated, but let's just bring it down to basic terms, that you're just trying to eat a lot and eat stuff that's going to give you that boost. And the more you miss meals, the more it's going to sway your body back and forth, and the more that you want to be aware of what you're doing for yourself. So it's eat, but it's eating good stuff. But do you see this? So reading the labels, 31 grams and it's 1 cup of a serving. 31 grams. So if you are looking at your sugar levels, you probably want to be only about 15 grams in total for the day if you want to stay away from diabetes, pre-diabetes, affecting your sugar levels. And as we age and we get older, the body gets more sensitive. So when you're in your teenage years, you have your hormone influxes and you have issues with, you know, balancing everything. And that's why our kids get very moody. And remember us too, when we were young. And then the 20s, you usually kind of are declogged because your metabolism is going and everything's just kind of moving. Not everybody, because I had problems in my 20s with inflammation and gaining weight back and forth and stuff. So, and I actually, most of my clients are exactly the way I was. And then the 30s, things just start slowing down. But say for the general population, this is kind of where it starts, where you start having some issues. Some people have had issues all the way since they were teenage years. And then some are like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden now I feel like my pants are getting, I have to get bigger pants. I'm not feeling as much energy. And then you go into your 40s, 50s, 80s, 90s, 100, whatever. I saw this lady that was 103, and she was dancing around and talking to people and serving people at a place. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I keep doing this, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there and not be 100 and be inactive. I'm going to be 100 and be vibrant. So are you there with me? So let's keep the sugar down. So very aware of your hidden sugar in the Greek. Sugar. Okay, if you go to McDonald's, there's things that you can get. Say you're with people and it's just one of those things, you're just there. And instead of not eating, you need to find stuff that has something that doesn't have a lot of sugar to it. Also, I'm going to be talking about something that you need to watch out in the third section that will give you more information. That it's hard to find, hard to go to McDonald's and not find sugar. But you can do a salad, which doesn't really have much life to it, but at least you're doing something for yourself. Anyway, so the McAfee Mango Pineapple Real Fruit Smoothie has 49 grams of sugar. 49 grams. So what did I say? About 15 grams of sugar a day. And oh my gosh, we think that we're doing great stuff for ourselves. Okay, so these pictures I took of my kids, it was a very long time ago. Oh my gosh, I think Kirsten has that shirt still, or we just got rid of it. Oh, this is so silly. Okay, so this is probably a couple of years ago. So if you have 2 handfuls of M&Ms, actually 2 bowls, you see how Kirsten's holding a bowl and Jacob? That's about 49 grams of sugar. The McAfee Mango Pineapple, because mango actually does have a lot of sugar. The fruit smoothie, you're going to have 49 grams of sugar. Well, if I was choosing, I'd probably have M&Ms, but you don't know that. Sometimes you think I'm doing a great job, but wouldn't it be better just to have a fresh mango, have the fresh fiber in there, and really enjoy it that way instead of throwing everything in this one little drink and not realizing that you've sabotaged yourself with just a drink that you thought, well, I'm just eating that, no big deal. So good to know. Okay, if you have anything when you are having quick meals for the kids or quick meals for yourself, packaged foods like this, when you are just warming them up, look at, there's already 12 grams of sugar in there. So when you look at it, I mean, there's some applesauce, but look at the pizza. All this pizza really is just sugar in the body. If you really think about that. If you want a bar, we call these bars because you can just eat them. But what I want to point out here is gluten-free. So we're finding that a lot of people have issues with gluten because gluten is used more intensely than it used to be used. And the reason why is because we're mass producing things, and things need to stick together more strong than they did when we did stuff by hand. And so it's going to affect us because our cells only know what they know. We haven't had these bars around forever. So when you start looking at these things that are gluten-free, wouldn't you just pull the gluten out and make something that's more natural? But when you're buying a packaged thing, this is what you have to be aware of. 29 grams of this bar has sugar. 29 grams. Well, someone right away will say, well, it has 20 grams of protein. Even sometimes we have too much protein, because if you're focused on a protein diet, we're going to talk about that next section. We're almost to the third section here, which I'm going to reveal. But the protein is also important, because if you don't use your protein, then what's going to happen? It's going to go to sugar. If you don't use something, it's going to go to sugar. So it's a great way to fuel up by getting an apple and some nuts. But to do a Pro-Max bar, this is what you're getting. Now, if you do this off and on, it is what it is. Your body is capable of handling this. If this is something that you do consistently, this is something you have to be concerned about. Okay, so in the next section, Samantha's been learning all this stuff. She's been going along with her process, and she's been looking and feeling magnificent. So the other area is being aware of your whole plate and what's going on. So you ready? Processing meat requires a huge insulin response, more than eating half a pound of sugar. Do you like steak? Yes, we'll do a palmful. Don't go in there and do a real big steak. So as you have your enzymes, I bet you are surprised. Actually, I was. That's why maybe you're like, I already knew that, or I don't believe it yet, or whatever. But why I'm revealing this today is I've been reading a lot up on this because I'm like, oh my gosh, like everything that's around can affect our body. It's not like you can just go meat because you don't want any carbs and you think you're fine. Because since diabetes is on the rise and pre-diabetes, we need to be really aware of what we're doing to ourselves. So when you do anything extreme, you're going to be getting something like this. There's going to be an effect where it's going to affect you in a way that that's going to change something in your health. It's not good. So if you think that eating proteins, your whole cure with your meat, what happens is there's no fiber in your meat. There's no, and then as it goes through the body and to break down the enzymes and the amino acids, I said enzymes, but actually the amino acids, it actually requires a lot of insulin to break this down. So to get the natural sugar in your body so you can have the energy, you need the insulin there too. So as you're eating your meat, it comes into almost like a natural sugar besides everything else that it does. But you need that insulin to help break it down. But you also need the insulin for the cell to accept that sugar that it broke down for also. So when you're eating something, when you're looking at your plate, you want a whole plate of everything. So you want to go with your brown rice, say 25%, your meat about 25% when you're looking at your plate. The other half, it can actually even be 75% if you're not having the rice, is having the fresh vegetables, having something leafy and strong. So that'd be spinach, that could be any kind of, leafy green. Then going in and having every color that you want. I was doing a food demonstration dinner, and I had Dr. Nalini come in. And she, in her family, Dr. Nalini takes care of, I'll back up a little bit. Dr. Nalini takes care of patients that have cancer. She deals with them holistically, though. So she understands, she has a PhD. She understands how to take care of people just like every doctor. But she's gone more the holistic route. So their medicine is to get their food right, to get their day-to-day right, to learn how to not be a victim in life, to be able to absorb and really understand what's going on around so you're not just seeing the negative side. And so she talked a lot about that because when I had the dinner, I Skyped her in. She lives in Hollywood and her family has been connected with Hollywood for a while, but she's a very, very special person because she was talking about how she has the degenerative disease that happens with eyes. And when you're talking as a regular doctor, you're talking about specifics about medicine and how this naturally happens when you're 40, and there starts becoming these stats of, of what happens to the general population. Well, when you're working with somebody who sees natural things happening in life, you start realizing that your plate should be full of big colors, tons and tons of colors of the rainbow. And she was talking about this and talking about how your plate has to be in a process where something's not taken over. Even if you're eating tons of vegetables and that's all you're doing, that's still not good. You can't be extreme about anything. You have to be aware that you're going to be getting your protein from certain areas, and that can be from your fruits and vegetables, but you have to feel that that's going to be the right thing. So what Dr. Nalini was talking about is that since she has this degenerative disease, that she gets every color that you need to be able to take care of the eyes, take care of the skin, take care of the kidneys, take care of the liver, and she went through each specific one. And she was releasing a book at that time also, so it was something that she was just speaking about. And it opened up my eyes even deeper to really understanding this, is that no matter what I want you to accept today is that since this is scientific proof, because there's so much information out there now about meat, but there's also just the holistic side, and just you stopping and taking a break and saying, am I feeling good? Are you feeling good with your diet? Is there something going on with your diet that maybe it's not working for you? So let's just say you have a little bit of junk food here and there, and you realize that a little bit of this junk food is not hurting you because you're testing yourself. Maybe you can test yourself if you're alkaline or if you're acidic. which I speak about often on these Tuesday calls. But if you're alkaline or acidic, then you're going to be one of those. Once you test that, you can get strips through Amazon. I tested myself yesterday. I was like, where am I at? 'Cause I wasn't feeling 100% yesterday, and I was actually in the alkaline, and it made me happy to know that, like, it's like you just want this physical thing telling you that you're okay. I was like, oh my gosh, all weekend long I wasn't feeling well. And this is probably because I had a big week the week before. But your natural ebbs and flows of your body, it is what it is. You're not going to always feel 100% perfect all the time, but it's always good to do a little test here and there instead of, feeling like you have to consistently go to the doctor and figure out, is the doctor telling me I'm sick or not? So I did this alkaline test yesterday. I found that I was alkaline. If you're acidic, then you're eating too much of something. So today, the information that you got, I want you to sit with it. And I want you to think about this. And I want you to come back next Tuesday because I want you to keep growing and expanding your mind on what the possibilities are for you and how much you really know about yourself, how much you really know. So let's balance your diet. So I want you to understand that you have the power to healing your body, and it lies dormant with you, and it becomes, as you become more educated, then it'll help you understand this. But I want you to focus on your body, mind, and spirit at all levels because I want you to restore the balance. These Tuesday calls should be called Restore Your Balance. But in simplicity, it's all about looking great and feeling amazing. That's all that really encompasses body, mind, and spirit. It's not one or the other. Now, I go through this process every week, and I want you to think about this. Nothing that I've shared with you today is theory. We've gone through Samantha's story little by little. We talked about scientific stuff, but again, I really don't believe that something has to be scientifically proved because, of course, being on the holistic side is about, are you feeling good? Where is your energy? Are you feeling good about your energy? Now, I've used every single one of these strategies because this is how I live my life. What I'm teaching you today is what I use for a strategy each day or strategies each day. So you know what you want to learn to get results like my clients, but you may not know what you need to do. So you're frustrated with all the information out there, which I feel is easy to get confused about because people will say to me, well, what do you think about this supplement? What do you think about, avocados? Oh, I'm not going to eat avocado because it's so fattening. And you start going down these routes that are just like a flat, at face value. It may look one way or the other. But anything in life has layers to it. And so I'm bringing you this knowledge of being in the industry for over 15 years. So even though you heard this information today and you go, oh, I knew all this stuff. The more you're with it, the more you are with people that believe in the way that you believe, the less sabotages will happen. So there's frustration that sometimes sits in because sometimes the results don't come as quickly. So sometimes you need some help. So you just want to be told what to do and how to do it and get real results in your health journey. And this encompasses what's important to us: weight loss, energy, and less stress, bringing the chaos down from our mind. One thing that you learned today, I'm not extra special. I just am educated on the area, and I do not have access to exclusive resources and tools. I have more of a signature process. So as you see, this has worked for others and it can work for you. So the obvious question is, how do I get the results now that I have tried in the past to do? So you have a choice to stay with the complicated and confusing or stick with me and have simple and structured way of looking at things. So I want you to sign up for the next week's session so then you can keep growing on what you're learning. Last week, I was telling you about this High Energy Unleashed ebook. If you want it, head on over there and get it. You'll opt in. You'll get an ebook right away. You can zoom on through it. It's about 6 pages. The next day, you'll get one video that will just give you information. It'll teach you about adrenaline fatigue. It'll teach you about just things you have to understand, how energy gets stuck in our body, and it really affects our energy, affects our weight loss. We keep saying, well, why can't I lose weight? Well, it'll give you that information in the first video. Second video is the coaching video that helps you strategically make those choices that are going to increase your energy. So you're going to go over there to High Energy Unleashed ebook. You're going to learn how stress impacts your metabolism and simple ways to give back to yourself so that you can defuse your daily chaos. Defuse your daily chaos. So I think of it as, because I'm a personal trainer also, and I blend this with my coaching practice. When you're feeling indecisive, it's as if your body is split down the center and you feel like your body has the left side and the right side. We started off today, we started breathing and meditating and bringing everything together. And it brings it together in a strengthening way that all of a sudden you become decisive, not indecisive. You stop asking people questions. How does this look? Well, what do you think? All of a sudden, you just feel like your personal connection with yourself, that you have those answers. And your body just feels whole. So to diffuse daily chaos means that you're bringing it all together through the mind, the spirit, but the food is important too. So stay connected with that. This ebook will give you the focus on energy, and it's going to help you get something in your calendar so that you can do your strategies and learn how to do them. And it gives you strategies how to implement. So I use my FIT coaching. So I call it FIT coaching, which is focus, integrate, transform, and thrive. All four of those actually stand for each step in the process. I bring you through that through the coaching. So you go all the way to the end and you go, yes, I want to make this change. This is why I need to make that change. Okay, now how am I going to fit it in my schedule? It could be 15 minutes, it could be an hour, it can be whatever you decide and how you step into it. So it's very personalized for you. So step in there if that's what you want. So your energy plan is here, and I'll teach you how to implement. So what I want you to do is sign up for next week. Make sure you're with me, and we'll talk more. And I want you to even add some more chat stuff, which I haven't gotten a lot of. It's very interesting. I don't get a lot of chat stuff. But I'd love for you to be in and start asking questions. Also, I have this set up. If you are listening to it and recording, you can actually have it where you can ask a question. You can ask a question directly to me. It'll send me an email, and I can reply to you. So this is a shorter one than we've had. Now, I hope you weren't too freaked out about the meat, but if you bring it in your third step here, but if you bring it in to this whole world of balance, I think it seems pretty reasonable. And just understanding the chemistry of the body, if you do one thing over the other extreme, like some people will drink green tea all day because it's great for you. Well, why not drink water instead of drinking green tea? Because you're going to have adrenaline fatigue by using this green tea, and it's just going to overwork your body. Green tea is good to naturally declog, but that's an example of what we do when we sometimes know, oh my gosh, it's so good for me. I want to add that into my diet. So you have to be careful. Don't do anything extreme. Sometimes we have personalities where we want to do stuff extreme. I think I have an extreme personality. Sometimes I'll find something that is so important to me and I'll just go for it 100%. If you have the right direction, you have good enough information like what you learned today, it's so good to go 100% at it. But if you don't have a lot of rhyme and reason in what you're doing, then sometimes you can get lost out there and go extreme and really wear yourself out. So today, I want you to take the 3 steps. Watch your sugar, really read the label so you have that hidden sugar approach, that you're taking care of yourself, that you're not getting lost in hidden sugar. The third one is eat meat that's only a palm size. Don't go overboard. But if you're going to do that, have at least half your plate full of vegetables, and that's how you're going to live a fit lifestyle. F-I-T-T with double T. Okay, so you have an awesome, awesome day. I'll catch up with you next Tuesday. See you soon.